Bank Negara Malaysia, or BNM, wrote a letter to editors on 28th of May with the title "Monetary Policy is Preemptive, Not Premature." Monetary policy decisions affect many facets of a nation's economy, and as such it is often the case that such decisions are closely watched and debated not just by financial markets but also by the general public. The conversations around the BNM Monetary Policies Committee's or MPC's decision to raise the OPR by 25 basis points on the 3rd of May exemplify this fact. Deciding on the OPR isn't something that BNM takes lightly. There are many factors that the MPC considers, the letters to editors argues. Their analysis is based on a broad range of forward-looking data and engagement with various industries and consumers. In addition, the monetary policy statement itself, they say that they have put out other explainers, for example, a simplified snapshot of their monetary policy statement, FAQs and many more on Bank Negara's website and social media. In the letter to editors, they hope that they could provide further context and color to the MPC's actions and clarify some points that have been made to the public in the public discourse that they have been observing. Bank Negara's mandate is to maintain price stability and is to provide a conducive and sustainable growth of the Malaysian economy. In doing so, Bank Negara pursues a monetary policy that serves the interest of the country, and with that objective in mind, this also means not just considering the immediate impact of their action but also taking a long-term view of Malaysia's policy measures, including OPR decisions. This and more will be discussed with me and my guest right now who joins us from Germany, Dr. Muhammad Zabri, the Senior Lecturer of the Department of Finance, Faculty of Business and Economics at University Malaya. Doctor, let's talk a little bit more about the understanding or the need for us to understand the independent role of the MPC in the OPR setting policy and which part can help us better recognize the profound significance of separating monetary policy decision from that of political pressures or short-term considerations or even influence from the executive branch.
All right. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. How are you doing, Ibrahim? The independency of the MPC is very important simply because the monetary policy is driven by professionals, especially those who helm Bank Negara Malaysia. If you look at the constitutions of the committee itself, most of the members are comprises of those from Bank Negara itself, right? And then they are making the decisions, the projections of the economic situations in which will result in the increase or decrease of the OPRs themselves, all right? And so there are 8 members in this committee, so 6 of which are the governor herself, the deputy governors, and another 3 assistant governors. And the 2 is being appointed by the Ministry of Finance themselves, which are professional and has no affiliations with any political party, any NGOs, all right? So they are professional in their background. So therefore, by having this, data which will drive them to make data-driven decisions, and this independency has been protected because Bank Negara Malaysia works within the Bank Negara Act 2009, 1958, which has been revised in 2009. All right, so this act, one of the provisions in section 22(2) actually provided a strong and clear indication that the monetary policy of the bank, which is Bank Negara Malaysia, will be decided with no political influence or with no, the explicit word is actually no outside or external influence, which, so this will result in the decisions made by Bank Negara which are free from the political influence, which that's why we have seen time and time again, even the Prime Minister, Yang Berhormat Prime Minister has actually reiterated this fact in Dewan Negara himself, saying that the government has no, weightage or has no influence over these decisions. Right, back to you.
The MPC's role in balancing the economic growth and price stability is also quite important for us to look at through its monetary policy decisions. Maybe you can help us understand how the MPC is using its tools and powers to provide that price stability and growth.
All right. So one of the functions which are outlined in the Bank Negara Act itself is to ensure financial stability and monetary stability. All right. So at Bank Negara's disposal, they have many different tools. So one of which is the open market operation, whereby they will be buying and selling depending on the objectives of the Bank Negara themselves. So for example, right now, so when they want to pursue a tighter monetary policy, so what they will do, now they will buy bonds and sukuk from the open market in order to reduce the money supply, all right? So OPR is only one of the tools. So OPR, which we all of us are being affected, especially the normal rakyat, all right? So when the OPR is being increased, so our cost of borrowing will be increased. So therefore, people would save more. So one of the points which have been, raised by the public, which is rightly so, is when the OPR is being increased, so we have a higher cost of borrowing. But on the other hand, if we look at the from the borrower's perspective, we will have a higher rates on or a higher returns on the savings itself. So we have always, so when it comes to the policy by Bank Negara or any other government bodies or statutory institutions, so what we will have is the pros and cons, all right? So yes, the OPR will affect most of us, which especially us for the people who have, and it will affect more adverse effects on those who are have a higher level of indebtedness. But then again, when it comes to, any kind of policy, we will have the pros as well, all right? So other than the open market operation, so the OPR, so Bank Negara Malaysia have these tools in order to ensure the monetary stability, which in the end will create the financial stability within the market itself.
Maybe we can also understand or explore where does the BNM sit in terms of the governmental organization or governmental structure. We're familiar with the judiciary, the executive, and of course the parliamentary. So does BNM, I guess, have a boss to report to?
Yes, Bank Negara Malaysia actually reports to the Minister of Finance. So unlike most of the institutions or executive institutions, they report directly to the ministry. But in this case, Bank Negara Malaysia reports directly to the Minister of Finance. But then again, even though they are reporting directly to the Minister of Finance, but because of the provisions within the Bank Negara Act, which specified this kind of provisions that they would define or they would realign the monetary policy, decide on the monetary policy without any influence even from the Minister of Finance himself, which is in this case the Prime Minister X or 10th Prime Minister.
Do you think that Bank Negara can actually improve on the transparency and public understanding of the OPR and its impact on the population? I've read with interest the letter to the editor. They target 4 particular areas. OPR hike will affect economic growth, basically debunking that. Another statement that they were debunking is there is no reason to hike after the earlier pause with inflation moderating. These kind of debunking, do you think that this actually improves on the transparency?
In terms of the transparency itself, yes. But then again, there's more to be done, especially when it comes to the increase of OPR. It's
very, very technical. But I would argue that MPC and by extension
Bank Negara themselves, what they can do is actually to give not to really, give explicit mention of the process, but, sort of a flow chart of how this decision came about, all right? So for example, so they see that the inflation rate, the headline inflation rate is rather high, so and the wage rate, blah, 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 blah. So therefore, they have decided that in the end, they will increase the OPR. So yes, in terms of the, I've actually read the same report and then see the social media, which is a different story of altogether. But then again, The process itself, I believe, is of great urgency. I mean, in explaining how the decision came about, I think that's more important, Ibrahim.
Comparatively speaking, other central banks, at least in this region, are also raising their interest rates. I don't know whether or not they are also being a target of politicizing their interest rate hikes, whether or not this has anything to do with the political influence that these countries have. I mean, I'm talking about our neighbors. Do you see these kind of activities that is currently happening with us here in Malaysia when it comes to politicizing Bank Negara's decision on raising interest rates with that of issues surrounding some political initiatives as well here in this country? Is there a link between the two?
Not really in Malaysia, but I cannot say for sure for other countries. But for Malaysia's case, we have been dealing with this situation ever since more and more, especially after the Asian financial crisis. So we have seen people who are, trying to influence Bank Negara Malaysia, and they have been steadfast pretty much throughout the Malaysian history in providing, not to say value-free, but then again quite independent, decisions. If I would argue, if Bank Negara Malaysia is not being professional in their conduct, Governor Tan Sri Zeti.
So she has been awarded, Governor of the Year, I think in 16 years in which she has been the governor. I think
12 or 13 times that she has been awarded the A mark by the central bank publication. So that in of itself is actually a testament to the professionalism that has been, not only Kasijati, but the whole infrastructure of Bank Negara themselves. But I believe that there's more to be done when it comes to the, explanation, the AKPK, the other programs in, explaining. I think, the worry is that whenever they see things increase, so they are worried about the spillover effects. I think Bank Negara Malaysia, especially via AKPK, has a lot more to do when it comes to the roadshows, and it comes to, really, I'm sorry to say these words, to dumb down the technical terms, really, strip it down to the bare minimum, and then try to explain in the simplest ways, which I think they can definitely do, Ibrahim.
I disagree with you that items should be dumbed down. If things are complex, it should remain complex. However, the language and the choice of words could be improved. I understand what you're trying to get at, though. I'd like to ask you about what initiatives can Bank Negara take to improve financial literacy and empower individuals to make informed financial decisions. But you're right, AKPK has been doing outreach, and the question is whether or not people want to listen to them. If people don't want to listen to them, then no matter what you do, they just don't want to listen. So the question is, I guess, how I could reiterate, how I could iterate this particular question of mine is, do you think that social media then has to play a role? Do you think that influencers have to play a role? We've seen how brands try to target, other consumers by using social media actors to try to improve on brand initiatives. Do you think that Bank Negara could do the same? Like, engage folks on social media even more aggressively than before?
Yeah. I believe they can go to that direction, but it will always have a drawback. I mean, let's say if that influencer, is taking a somewhat stronger stance as compared to what Bank Negara is doing, so that will have an adverse impact on Bank Negara themselves. But I do agree with you. So it is not only a one-way street in terms of the understanding of how OPR works, how the economy works. So we, the end consumers, must be, take initiatives to learn as well, because as of today, the information is there. It's just a matter of, sifting through this information to make sure that, what kind of information that's actually, usable for us. And in understanding this, I would say, complex. Complex. So yes, I do agree with you. The choice of word, but in some cases, I I would still believe that this is important to dumb down the terms, and this is not applicable for Bank Negara as well. This is especially true for us, which is academics, which we have been touting ourselves as as the one to bridge between the industry and the people. So we, in the academia, need to play our roles in explaining things, which what we are doing right now. But it comes with challenges, of course. So not to say that it is ever going to be easy, but then again, that's the way forward, I believe.
Thank you very much, Dr. Muhammad Zaidi Mat Zabri, the Senior Lecturer of the Department of Finance, Faculty of Business and Economics at Universiti Malaya, joining us all the way from Germany, explaining the situation right now.